Hello, and welcome to another basketball edition of the Adrienne Ross Show. Listen, three, that's the number, three. Okay, Caitlin Clark is Player of the Week for the third consecutive time. She's a rookie, y'all. It's absolutely phenomenal, okay? And we're gonna look at these numbers, but first, I gotta give a shout out to those who have joined the Adrienne Ross Show membership. Thank you so much, all of you. And I want to give a special shout out to those who are at MVP, legend, or GOAT level. So some I shouted out the other day, but since then, Margie Savage, thank you. Susan Nicosia, thank you. Duck, yuck. Thank you. Sherry T, thank you. ALRR, thank you. Tim Harper, thank you. And Tom McDermott, thank you. And thank all of you. Also, I want to thank you for those who are subscribed to the channel. If you have not yet subscribed, what you waiting for? We're heading up toward 32,000. So yeah, hit that button. Now back to Caitlin Clark. Let's take a look at these numbers, these phenomenal numbers for this rookie. So here we see that Caitlin Clark averaged 25 points per game, 4.3 three-pointers made, 10 assists per game, and 7.7 rebounds a game. This is just phenomenal for any player, which is why she's Player of the Week. But think about the fact that she's a rookie and you go, you're like, this is a rookie. And some of these games we've seen, she's not even playing at her peak. She's not even playing. Some of them you're like, man, it wasn't even like one of her greatest games. And yet she's coming out with 25 points, 10 assists, 7. She's almost averaged a triple-double in this week. And again, it's the third in a row. So I got to ask, how far can you go, Caitlin? How far can she go? It's amazing. And in that, as Stat Mamba points out, she becomes the first rookie in WNBA or NBA history to be Player of the Week for 3 consecutive weeks. And so people wonder why the conversation is not even Rookie of the Year anymore. As far as I was concerned, there was never a Rookie of the Year race. And it certainly was over a long time ago. But people are now, again, they're not just talking about Rookie of the Year anymore. It's like, okay, that's old hat. People are talking about the MVP conversation. And even though some of these numbers come out and she's not listed on there at all, and they've got, Asia Wilson and then they've got, Nafisa Collier, and they've got Sabrina Ionescu, I don't even remember the full order of that. But Caitlin Clark people were like, how is she not in the conversation there? And you got Breanna Stewart. Yeah, no, she is in the conversation. She is in the conversation. Here's what I think this league has got to do. This league has got to define what MVP really means, because you've got people who are going broadcasters and also the media, sports media, who will be making these votes. What are they making the votes on? I'd like for everyone to come to a consensus. What is an MVP? Most valuable player. Now, through the years, I would always hear, well, the MVP is not necessarily the best player, does not necessarily have the best stats overall, but the MVP is the most valuable player, the player who is more valuable to his or her team than anyone else. And so we seem to go back and forth on that, and nobody really knows. So, I kind of just looked it up just because I was curious as to what would come up. And what I saw was this. In the Women's National Basketball Association, the WNBA, the most valuable player award is given to the player who is considered the most important to the team, sport, or game. The WNBA has given out this award since the league's inception in 1997. It then goes on to say The WNBA doesn't provide a specific definition for the award, but the MVP debate often centers around the following factors: statistics, team performance, and whether the player is making the greatest difference on the team. The MVP is selected by a panel of sports writers and broadcasters from across the United States. The panel members are asked to rank their top 5 choices, with 10 points for first place, 7 for second, 5 for third, 3 for fourth, and 1 for fifth. Okay, so it clearly says that there's no clear criteria, and maybe it's just the English teacher in me. I like clear criteria. I like to know we're all on the same page, so that when we go in, we cast our vote, we know what we're looking for. Now, A'ja Wilson, everyone has said, is the clear favorite. She is averaging over 27 points per game, and so you can't say that A'ja Wilson shouldn't be in the conversation. I just don't think it's a definite conversation closed. Now, when we talk about Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark, conversation closed. But MVP, especially since the break, when this team came back, they are on fire. They had trouble against the Lynx, of course, right? They ended up finding a way to win against Atlanta in overtime, right? So, yeah, but then they came, we got the Seattle game. We got so many games where you've got Caitlin Clark, and then Aaliyah, she can be spotty, but she came up big in last game. Kelsey Mitchell doing her thing, Lexi Hall. But Tammy, when she comes in here, and the team, they got a lot of play, they got a lot to grow. But when I look at MVP, I believe that A'ja Wilson is going to win it. A'ja Wilson, I believe, thought she should have won it last year. She took it very personally that she didn't seem to really get the votes either. Like, it wasn't close, right? So she didn't like it. I know that. And so she came out on a tear, and she's dropping points and getting rebounds. Okay. But at the same time, Caitlin Clark is in the conversation. I know Gino Auriemma laughed and said we were stupid before the season started, that anybody thought she could ever be in that conversation at this point. But she is in this conversation. What, 3 in a row of player of the week? It's just the numbers that she's putting up, the actual records that she's setting. I'm not even going to read through all of them because my mind doesn't work with numbers. I'm a word person, and those of you who are good with those numbers, I admire you, but I also don't even have the time to read through all of these accomplishments this year. I'm not talking about the college stuff. We already know the college list is like a mile long. We're talking about as a rookie in this league, in which some of these games, she's not even what's going to happen what's going to happen when she gets better? Like, for real. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these numbers, because they're just off the charts. So according to the Clark report, which if you don't follow on Twitter, you should, it gives every record Caitlin Clark has set so far this season. That's the wild thing. The season, look at that list. The season is not even over yet. Okay? Every record. And I can't read through all these. I honestly can't, because we'd be here all day. Okay, so fastest player to record 100 points and 50 assists. Took 8 games. Fastest player to record 150 plus points, 50 rebounds, and 50 assists. 10 games. Fastest player to record 200 plus points and 50 plus assists. 12 games. Fastest player to record 200 plus points, 75 plus rebounds, 75 assists, 15 games, and did it in 15 games. Okay, like I said, I could go on and on. You get to 300 points or 350 points. First rookie to record 350. You see, I'm skipping around because, like I said, some of us have a day job. Okay, so continuing on. Franchise single game rookie leader in 3-point field goals made. And obviously we know, I don't even know where it is on this list, but we know that she had the triple-double, first time a rookie ever did it. Then she just had another triple-double. Only rookie in WNBA history, multiple games of 20 plus points and 10 plus assists in a season. Most double-doubles by a rookie guard in WNBA history. First rookie in WNBA history to record 400. Look, I'm just going to keep scrolling. You see what I'm saying? It's just phenomenal. Fever franchise record for highest assists per game in a season. Most 25-point plus 10 assist games in a season, WNBA history. First rookie in WNBA or NBA history to be player of the week for 3 consecutive weeks. Guys, this is just wild. This is wild. This is the same player they said didn't have what it takes, couldn't handle the physicality, all those things we heard. And that she's done nothing but just played her game. But here's the thing, back to the MVP conversation. She makes everyone better on her team. I'm not, like I said, I don't want to take anything from what A'ja is doing. If you want to talk about the stats, if you want to talk about how their stats compare, then you might say, okay, well, A'ja has more points per game. She's got more rebounds per game. I think her, let me see. I think her field goal percentage, I want to get it right. Okay, so let me just show you this so you can see exactly what I'm talking about, how these two compare.
Looking to buy a new home in the Jackson, Missouri area? Then check out the all-new Kinder Farm subdivision located at Bird Court in Jackson, Missouri. It's on Highway 34, less than 1 mile from the 72-34 intersection, just 5 minutes from Jackson High School. Perfect location. Don't miss.
So, Caitlin with 19.2 points per game. A'ja's 27.3. Rebounds, 5.8, 11.9. 8.5 assists, 2.4 assists. 1.3 steals, 1.9. Blocks, well, CC's 0.8. Blocks for A'ja, 2.7. Field goal percentage, 42.3% Caitlin, 52.7% from A'ja. 3-point percentage, 34.7 for CC, 33.9 for A'ja. Free throw percentage, 90.7 for Caitlin, and 85.5% for A'ja Wilson. So again, if you're looking at stats alone, you have a definite case for A'ja Wilson to get that nod. But again, Caitlin Clark has got to be in the voting and has got to be in the conversation. Now, listen, this article goes on to say the Aces are a stacked team, okay? Caitlin Clark has had a bigger impact on her team's success. Remember, we're talking about most valuable player. Caitlin, obviously, we all know, she's had a bigger impact. They've won more games now than they've won in the last 2 seasons, the Fever have. And they would not be doing it, I'm sorry to tell Cheryl Swoops, without Caitlin Clark. So the Aces are stacked, though. They sent 5 players to the Olympics, okay, including A'ja Wilson. And despite all of that talent, they've been less dominant than expected. They stand in 4th place coming into their matchup with the 6th place Fever on Wednesday, which is today. Okay, Clark has done more with less. Value, that's value. The Fever are 3.5 games back of the Aces, but their 19-17 record is a dramatic improvement from 13-27 last season. Clark has been the reason for that turnaround. She's made teammates around her significantly better, and I can go on and on. It goes on to say, without Clark, the Fever would be one of the worst teams in the league yet again. Without Wilson, the Aces would manage to survive. They played better statistically without her, outscoring opponents by 1.6 points per 100 possessions more with her on the bench compared to when she plays. The Fever, on the other hand, are 6.5 points per 100 possessions worse when Clark sits compared to when she plays. I think, we really don't have to have a conversation about, Caitlin's value to the team and how things change when she sits on the bench. But in addition to that, again, we need to come up with the definition. What is the MVP? Stats are involved. Value is involved. I argue, and it really isn't an argument because everybody knows that Caitlin Clark is more valuable than any other player in this league not just to her team, but to the entire league. Caitlin Clark has a lot to do with why people are even seeing what A'ja Wilson can do, as well as other people. Caitlin Clark is blowing up in terms of people in the stands and in terms of television views. She is the most valuable player, not just to the Indiana Fever, but to the entire league. And we all know it. So again, I know A'ja Wilson's going to get the nod. And I know if she didn't win, I think everybody would blow up. Okay. Because she didn't like it last time. If she doesn't get it this time, and because it's Caitlin, oh my goodness, right? But that shouldn't be what directs our votes. I'm saying that if I'm a person, a broadcaster or sports media, establishment sports media, then I should have a clear set of what we're looking at here, because there is a definite argument for most valuable player to be hands down Caitlin Clark. So what are they voting for? What are they looking at? Especially since some of those numbers that they came out with Sabrina Ionescu is ahead of Caitlin Clark. So anyway, you can chop it up in the comments and let people know what you think about that. A'ja Wilson likely to be MVP. But what about what I'm saying about value and about we need to know exactly what that means. And of course, 3 in a row, player of the week, just phenomenal. Now, I have church tonight, so I will not be going live for the game. And again, I have to do what I have to do, and that is when I get out, I have to stay off social media. I have to stay off, the internet for the most part, because I know nothing, I see nothing. I don't want to know the outcome. I want to watch it as if, the game hadn't even been played yet. So I'll be doing that. So I won't be live. Who knows if I'll get a chance to get on late night after the fact, but you guys will hold it down. And, I don't know if A'ja Wilson is playing. She's out injured. The last thing I read was that she's not on the injury list for tonight. So she could possibly play unless, by the time you see this, that news may have changed, but we don't know yet. But I think it's an important game for the Indiana Fever, who have not beaten the Aces. And now they've got them two in a row. I believe they're in a row, but they have them twice here. And because we're talking about this whole MVP conversation, it would be interesting if A'ja can play, and just obviously they play 2 different positions, but it would still be interesting to see which team comes out on top of this particular game. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts. Remember, hit that subscribe button, and thank you. And remember, we've got the membership, so click the join button, see what memberships are there, and I'd appreciate your support. Okay, catch you next time, God willing. God bless you abundantly.